Who you are cannot be quantified. Who you are cannot be measured. Who you are cannot be put in a box. You're not a metric. You're a person. You're human. You're alive. And you matter. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Are we awake? Are we present? Good, good, good. So, how many of you have a net worth of $1 billion right now? Raise your hands. That means if you cashed out, not your business, not what's on your profit, not all of that stuff. You cashed out right now, you would be worth $1 billion. Raise your hands. In your mind or in reality? Yeah, it's a difference. Okay, how many of you have a net worth of 100 million? Means if you cashed out right now, it would be 100 million net. You could go move to an island somewhere and live your life. Raise your hands. How many of you have a net worth of over 10 million? Means if you cashed out right now, today, you would be worth $10 million. That means you've paid the taxes, you've done everything. Congratulations. How many of you are worth over $1 million? Means your net worth is $1 million. I'm not talking about in Bitcoin, not in your Bitcoin wallet, because one day that's worth $1 million, one day it's worth 600,000, next day it's worth 300,000. Okay, congratulations. And how many of you wish you were worth $1 billion? Raise your hands. Okay. We are living inside of this conditioned version of reality. You, my sweet friends, are more than just a unit of production. From the moment you were born, you have been conditioned to operate inside of a limited framework that has you believing that what you produce determines your value and your worth. Well, I'm here to say that it doesn't. Because I've met some of the most successful people in the world. I have the pleasure of coaching them and mentoring them. And I have to tell you that there's a dramatic difference between those individuals that have found a place of connection inside of themselves and those that haven't. So I'm here to say to you that you can have everything in the world, but if you don't have a knowledge and an understanding of who you are, then you have nothing at all. Then you have nothing at all. So how do we begin to cultivate this sense of being enough? Because we can't get there through society's conditioned metric of how we're supposed to be and who we're supposed to be. At some point, we have to revert to who we naturally are. Because it's in coming back to who we naturally are and aligning with life in the way in which it's unfolding that we can begin to find a sense of sustainability. If you are living in this moment wishing that you were a billionaire without any tangible, feasible means of generating $1 billion, then you are deluded. In this moment, if you are thinking that having $1 billion is going to make you something else other than who you are, then you are deluded. Because I have met many a neurotic billionaire who has everything in the world, and yet because they don't have a sense of peace inside of themselves, they're not able to enjoy the yacht, enjoy the house, enjoy the relationship. And worst of all, there's a trail of carnage they have left in their wake in order to produce in the way that they are. Steve Jobs wasn't successful. That is not my definition of success. Somebody who's able to innovate and generate without engendering support, without engendering a team, a collaborative effort, does well. Yeah, they generate this huge amount of cash. But now they have nothing. There's no innovation. There's nothing driving that engine anymore because nobody along the way was empowered in the process. So how do we win? And what is winning? How many of you, within the course of your lifetime, have the capacity to be peaceful? Raise your hands. Have the capacity to be peaceful. Well, if you have the capacity to be peaceful, then you are already richer than most of the billionaires that I have met in my life, yes? If you have the capacity to be peaceful, then you are already moving in the right direction. Because we as human beings naturally and innately have the capacity to be peaceful. Because when we are at peace with ourselves, we are experiencing our enlightened consciousness, yes? So this is how transformation works. We have to let go of all the golden carrots that are being dangled in front of us of success, of accumulation, of being more, because more isn't necessarily more. Do you understand that? Jeff Bezos took a 50% haircut in his net worth because more isn't necessarily more. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? Are you awake, Mindvalley? Good, because we're here to get woke real quick. You can accumulate a net worth of $100 billion, but if you are not tending to your relationship, if you are not taking care of your family, of everything that you have to internally, and your sole focus is accumulation, at some point, something's going to break down somewhere. Do you understand this? I don't want that for you. I wish I could have gotten my hands on Steve. I wish I could have gotten my hands on him. Maybe he'd still be here. But where it's too late for him, it's not too late for you. I fundamentally believe that when we have the courage to be ourselves, we are making an impact. But making an impact doesn't mean being popular. It doesn't even necessarily mean being successful. It means having the courage to wake up in the morning and be who you are. Because you see, you're not going to trend on Facebook with a message that guides people back to being who they are. But if you dangle a marketing plan or a carrot of revenue generation in front of them, you'll have an unlimited amount of subscribers because people don't know how to get off of the hamster wheel of production. At some point, you have to get off the hamster wheel of production. Because your life, the quality of your life, the quality of your relationships, the quality of your experience of being a human being is worth more than a dollar amount. Yes? Yes. So how do we do that? By first of all, beginning to understand and realize that from the moment we were born, we have been conditioned to function in a way that is limited in this world. Somebody posted a comment on Facebook and they said, do you believe in climate change? I don't believe in anything. Take a breath. It's hard for some of you. I don't believe in anything. And here's why. Because as an infinite consciousness that's born into this world, any belief that we subscribe to is inherently a limitation. So why are we wasting our time functioning at the level of the mind and thinking that some shift at the level of the mind is going to transform your experience of being human? When the mind is a limited apparatus, it quantifies, it understands, it needs to compartmentalize, but the mind is the instrument of separation. How is it that you're going to get to oneness or any kind of holistic state of being as you are only operating through the lens of the mind? So the current spiritual development paradigm is fundamentally inept in dealing with human beings. Because the spiritual development paradigm has led to the development of a spiritual identity. All of a sudden, our core, God-given, natural, essential self wasn't enough. So we had to create a secondary layer around it to find a sense of belonging through this secondary layer that identifies as being spiritual. Are you with me, Mindvalley? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? It's time to wake up. Then, personal development is all about adapting to life. It's all about adaptation. I'm an ego, I understand I'm an ego, and I'm limited, and it's painful. But maybe if I become a better version of my egoic self, I'll be able to function in a much better way in the world. And of course, that doesn't work either. Because adaptation is not transformation, yes? Adaptation is not transformation. Do you understand this? So there are two things that are driving human behavior: pain or love. It's that simple. I've met many a successful individual in the world who's built a billion-dollar company because they were dumped in high school. Because they never got over the pain of that rejection. So they went on a campaign of accumulation, of proving, of trying, of needing to be more, just so they could be loved by somebody or something outside of them. And of course, the problem is that when you build your life on a platform of pain, when you get to that point of success, whatever that number is, you're not going to be able to enjoy a single moment of it. Because every penny that you have earned, you're going to have to spend on your relationship, on your health, and patching up or mending everything that you have fundamentally ignored every step of the way to get there. Do you get this? So you're the quarterback and I'm your left tackle. It's my job to see what you can't see. It's my job to know what you can't know. It's my job to be available for you in a way that you have yet to cultivate the capacity to be available for yourself. Because success, money, and fame are an absolute illusion. They are not an answer to anything. And I can tell you that because I've accumulated. I've become successful. I've done all of the things that we're supposed to do in order to be valued, in order to be respected, in order to get ahead. And all I can say to you is that the more we become normal, the more we suffer. So how does transformation happen? We return to being natural. What does that mean? That means that you in this moment are enough. Stop trying to change your thoughts and up-level your beliefs because you're still up to your neck in shit trying to smell the flowers. There's no amount of positive thinking that's going to get you out of where you are. If you solely engage in transformation at the level of the mind, then you are wasting your time. Because the mind doesn't have the capacity to transform your experience. The mind doesn't have the capacity to transform your experience. Do you get this? Do you get this? Yes? The mind doesn't have the capacity to transform your experience. You can have a vision board, and you can have the best vision board in the world. The most beautiful pictures. You can have a 5-star vision board. But if you're not enough in who you are, and you haven't taken a look at your shadow and dealt with what you have to inside of yourself, even if the universe brings you that outcome, brings you that experience, or moves something into your life that wasn't ordinarily present, guess what you're going to do? You're going to sabotage it, undermine it, and fundamentally push it away from you. Because it's not okay for you to have what's coming into your life. So we have an incredible opportunity here in the time that I have with you, to support you in not imploding, in not blowing up your life, in making sure that everything that you're working toward, everything that you're moving toward, everything that you are wanting for yourself in your life, that you can actually receive it. And not just receive it, but digest it. Be able to do something with it. Because business, for the sake of business, is the old paradigm. We're alive in an era where we are waking up. How many of you are waking up, yes? That's why you take a month out of your life and fly to Pula in Croatia to hang out with people. If you weren't waking up, you wouldn't be here, yes? Okay, so we're waking up. Well, what is it that we're waking up to? Are we waking up to a better sales funnel? Is that what we're waking up to? Because if you're waking up just for that, you're living for all the wrong metrics. Because guess what? Who has ultimate control over you? Facebook and Google. You have no autonomy over yourself. Instagram goes down today, your life is over. Your business is over. You don't know what to do. And I have to tell you that life is about to get a little bit challenging. How many of you have that sense that life is about to get a little bit challenging? Raise your hands. Like you're aware of the fact that this 9-year bull run that we've been on is the wheels are about to fall off the bus. Can you see this? Are you awake? Are you paying attention? Can you see this? We're already overextended. Loose monetary policy allows people to overextend. How many of you right now in this room are overextended? Raise your hands. Credit card balance, mortgage, some line of credit. Raise your hands, be honest. Okay. I'm especially here for you. Because we have to get our house in order. We have to begin to start living for something that's meaningful. We have to start living for something that has the capacity to not just impact our lives, but the lives of other people. So as someone who's gone out slightly ahead of you and experienced more success or more fame or more whatever that is that you believe is the cure, I'm here to tell you that it isn't. Waking up in the morning with my 4 children and my wife brings me more fulfillment than being on any TV show ever could. And why is that? Because human beings long for connection. We don't want money, we want connection. We want belonging. We want to finally find a place where we fit in this world. The only problem is that we don't fit in the world. Because if you're fitting in the world, you're not able to make the difference that you're here to make. It means that you've been dumbed down to a point of operating in the same way every other member of the herd is operating. At that point, you become completely ineffective. Do you get this? So you are weird for a reason, Mindvalley. You are weird for a reason. Your family doesn't understand you for a reason. How many of your family members thought you coming away for a month to be in Pula, Croatia was a great idea? That's a fantastic idea. How many of you didn't even tell them? Cowards. That's the truth. Because you care more about your self-image than you do about living in the truth of who you are. This is why you are suffering. When you're with your friends and your families, you dumb down who you are by about 20%. 30%, most of you. God forbid you show them how happy you are. God forbid you tell them how healthy and how good you feel and how vibrant you feel. God forbid. Because guess what? Humanity has a completely skewed metric for what belonging is. We find belonging through suffering. You can fit in through suffering a lot sooner than you ever can through being joyful and grateful. That's why there aren't 6 million people in this room. You can find a greater sense of belonging and fitting in through misery, through fear, lack, and scarcity, through what you have been brainwashed to operate inside of from the moment you were born. Well, how about we change that today? How about we transform that? How about we transform that, Mindvalley? How about we transform that? So how do we do that? By first of all recognizing that there isn't a flaw in our design. You've been trying to fix, heal, and change because you believe that the version of you that is in this room right now isn't the right version of you. You've been manipulated into believing that there is some other version of you that is better, more lovable. That there's some other version of you that's able to produce in a more effective way. And notice I used the word manipulation. It wasn't by accident. You have been convinced fundamentally that you as you are the problem. Well, while the world convinces you of that, I'm here to tell you that you as you are is the solution. That you as you are is the solution. Because every single one of you in this room represents an infinite potential and a possibility that I can't even quantify in words. You are all conscious disruptors. You're conscious disruptors. You are here to disrupt the status quo. You are here to disrupt the version of normal. You are here to go beyond the regular metrics and milestones that everyone else is living for. Because if you're living for a goal, you're missing the point. If you're living for an outcome, you're missing the point. If you're living for a liquidity event, you're missing the point. At some point, you have to begin to relax into the totality of yourself. So how do we get manipulated? How is it that we give our power away? How is it that all of a sudden we go on this mission of becoming instead of relaxing into the totality of the truth of being? How does that happen in the first place? Well, because we're in pain. How many of you can remember the moment when you first felt like you weren't enough? Raise your hands. When you first felt like you weren't enough. Raise your hands, be proud. Good, welcome to the human race. Excellent. There was a moment where you first felt like you weren't enough. And from that moment, you have been trying to prove through every single action that you are. Do you understand this? You have been trying to prove through every single action that you are. Do you get this? Okay, that's what your whole life has been about. That's what your whole life has been. That's why anxiety and depression is at an all-time high. And that's why suicide is upticking at a rate that's just startling. People just don't know any other way other than to end their lives. Well, how about we don't end our life? How about we just end our suffering? How about we just end our suffering? How about we find a way to finally be at peace in who we are so we're not anxious about a future that has yet to come into existence? How about that? And how about we finally have the courage to relax into the love that we are, the abundance that we are, the health and well-being that we are, the totality of the truth that we are, so that we no longer have to wrestle with this thing called depression? How many of you would like that? Yes? Yes? Good. Okay, so here's how we get there. By embracing our design. The moment I gave up the need to fix, heal, change, transform, funnel, 10x, 100x, super gajillion, trillion X. I can't go on YouTube without seeing an ad of someone threatening to 10x my life. It's like, I don't want to 10x my life. Leave me alone. Whatever it is that you're selling, I don't need. I don't need the 10x version of my suffering. I don't need the 100x version of my suffering. I don't need that version. That version isn't the version. That's not my best self. That's not what I want to cultivate. That's not what I'm up to. Okay? So how do we unsubscribe? There is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Even if you left here after this keynote, you'd be done. There is nothing wrong with you. You're just comparing who you are to other people. You're comparing who you are to other people. You're living up to a false metric that you can never live up to. I don't want to be Steve Jobs. I don't want to be Bill Gates. I don't want to be Jeff Bezos. Love them. I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful that they're playing that role so that I don't have to. I want to be Panache Desai. I want to really find out what it means to be free in the time that I have here. I really want to find out what it means to be the love that I am in the time that I have here. But you know what? For someone who's authentic and loving, that can be very challenging. Because not only are you loving and authentically expressing who you are, but you're also very sensitive. You're empathic. You're functioning in a world that the world isn't equipped to handle. You're too much for people. There's too much truth, too much wokeness, too much love. There's too much of that potential inside of you. Well, here's our first way of breaking free of the matrix and the illusion. Stop apologizing for your magnificence. Take a breath. Take a breath. I want you to receive that. Stop apologizing for your magnificence. Stop apologizing for your magnificence. Stop apologizing. You spend too much time in every day trying to figure out how to say the right thing, how to communicate the right thing, how to write the perfect opt-in page. Nobody gives a fuck about opt-in pages. You waste so much of your life trying to focus on the mechanics of being you that you're not being you. You're so distracted by all the noise that everyone else is doing that you're not focusing on the one thing that has the capacity to transform your experience, which is finally having the courage to be you. If you're not expressing the totality of who you are, it doesn't matter how good your sales page is. It doesn't matter how good your conversion rates are. You have nothing to offer at the end of the transaction. But if you're being you and you're standing in the truth of who you are and you have the courage, and I mean courage, to express the totality of what's flowing through you at this moment in human history, you won't need a sales funnel. You don't need a social media following. You don't need any of the things that everyone else needs, because guess what? You have the best product that you could offer, which is the best version of you that you have to offer, which is the loving, healthy, abundant, aligned version of you that you are here to express. Make sense, Mindvalley? Yes? So, do those things, but understand that those things do not equate to success. Don't play the game at the cost of being you. Don't play the game at the cost of being you. Don't play the game at the cost of being you. So, human beings don't know how to deal with themselves. We don't know how to navigate who we are. And I've met some of the most brilliant people in the world. I mean, scientists that have innovations and technologies that can transform healthcare, that can transform the water crisis that we will be experiencing at some point soon, in the not too distant future, that have the capacity to facilitate longevity of life. Every one of you is designed to live to 120. And you can do that without disease. You can do that without illness. Some of the most brilliant people in the world. And yet, guess what? They never got the manual on how to navigate being human. They never got the manual on that. So how do we get there? By understanding that there is no part of us that is wrong. Take a breath. Now, what does that mean? That means that in this moment, whatever you are experiencing and whatever you are feeling is meant to be present inside of you. It's just that you oppose it. You struggle with it. You wrestle with it. Stop trying to change your beliefs. Just unsubscribe from them. They don't have any power over you unless you give them power over you. The reason why the whole Western transformational paradigm is completely flawed or inept or unable to deliver the promise of transformation is because it's all based in the mind. I think, therefore I am, was the worst, most stupid, ignorant phrase ever spoken into existence. The truth is, I am, therefore I think. You are being first, thought second. You are being first, emotion second. You are being first, body second. And when you understand that you are a being, that you are pure awareness, pure potential, you start to function in the world that's very unique. You become a unicorn in a field of zebras. You become a unicorn in a field of zebras. And when that transformation occurs, when you return to being your magnificent self without having to apologize for being who you are, without having to edit who you are, then all of these other things that you are doing start to bear fruit in a way that you cannot imagine. Until that has happened, all of this other stuff that you're doing isn't going to get you to where you need to be. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Do you understand that this is the most important 20 minutes of your life? Do you understand this? I'm giving you your life back. I am here to give you your life back so that you don't waste it living for all of the wrong things. You don't waste it living for all of the wrong things, because some of you are still living for things that you think are going to make you happy. Well, how about we start to live from the truth of who we are? So then how do we transform? If the whole Western spiritual and personal development transformation paradigm is completely flawed, because it's mind-focused, then how do we transform? Well, it's all about your energy. It goes back to the conversation I had with Oprah. We have to look at our energy. We have to look at where we're operating from. We have to begin to understand that we are vibrational beings, that everything is a frequency. Everything is a resonance. Nikola Tesla said if you want to understand the universe, think of the universe or reality in terms of vibration and frequency. Well, at that point, if we are an emanation of this infinite presence, right? We're an emanation of infinite presence. That means that we're here to translate infinity uniquely. Yes? That we are translating infinity uniquely. Well, the key in that is uniquely. The key in that is uniquely. Conformity is death. Conformity is death. The very second you conform and you try and do it the way everyone else is doing it, you're already gone. It's like being in the market. All of a sudden, everyone pumps Bitcoin to 13,000. You have FOMO at 13K. Oh my God, I'm missing out. It's going to 20K. We're going to moon. We're going to Lambo. Oh, I'm going to miss out on the Lambo. Thinking that the Lambo is going to make a difference in your life. It isn't. Lamborghini is the most uncomfortable cars in the world. Seriously, I test drove one. After I got out, I needed a massage. Why are you going to spend 300K on a car that you can't even drive every day? Ferraris aren't much better. So, oh my God, I missed out. FOMO, they get in and everyone dumps. 11K, 10K, 9K. And all of a sudden, all of those people that were operating from fear got hooked. They got hooked. Well, guess what? In the same moment where they felt that momentary sense of appreciation because it was heading in the right direction for about maybe 2 hours, now, this morning they're waking up and like, oh my God, what happened? Well, what happened was you allowed this notion of needing something to get the better of you. And just as much as that's happening in crypto, it's happening everywhere. You're doing it all the time, in every choice that you make. Most of you don't even know what happiness really is because you're living inside of a conditioned framework of happiness. That's why you're miserable. because you're doing all of the things that you're supposed to be doing in order to be happy, but yet even though you're doing all of these things, you're still not happy. Well, how about all of these things come from being who we are? Let's take it back to 5,000 years, 15,000 years, 25,000 years, or 150,000 years. Instead of operating inside of a limited framework that's come into being, that's become the dominant framework in the last 40 years. How about that? Let's take it all the way back. So, there is nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you. That's a bold statement. Some of you are like, well, you don't know me. I'm on my third marriage. You know, society would deem that to be wrong. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Whatever it is, I'm on my second failed company, whatever that is, whatever the metric is that you have placed upon yourself as failure actually isn't a failure at all. It's because you don't have the right playbook. It's because you don't know how this works. You don't understand it. I was a Jedi long before being a Jedi was ever cool. I was talking about vibration and frequency and transformation long before it became a searchable item on Facebook. We have to get back to the truth. So how do we do that? By understanding that at the level of emotion, we have the greatest opportunity to be free. At the level of emotion, we have the greatest opportunity to be free. And here's why. We've tried transforming at the level of the body. And no matter how much we've transformed at the level of the body, we're still not free. Yes? Do you see that? How many fitness crazes have we gone through? How many workouts have we gone through? How much mass consumption has there been of this fitness cycle, this ever-revolving, ever-changing fitness cycle? Yes? It's been a lot, right? And yet we still haven't figured out that we just need to walk for 30 minutes every day. Or swim. We still haven't figured it out. It's complicated, and the more complicated it is, the more removed it is from what's natural. The more removed it is from what we need to be doing. The more removed it is from that which is God-given, that which is authentic, that which we don't even have to consult anyone else for. So the level of emotion, we have the greatest opportunity for freedom. It's not at the level of the mind. The reason why you think about everything is because you're afraid to jump. The reason why you have to analyze everything is because you're afraid to act. You see, to me, someone who's in their mind is just afraid to live. It's that simple. Whereas somebody who has the courage to live doesn't have to analyze, quantify, measure, dissect, doesn't have to do any of that. They're just fully spontaneously engaged in life instead of pre-qualifying the version of themselves that they have to be in the moment. They're just spontaneously operating from a place of trust and allowing, instead of needing to figure out how they have to show up, who they have to be, what they have to say. Oh, wait a minute, I'm thinking a negative thought. Let me think a positive thought. I'm stuck in a limited belief. Let me create a positive belief. Well, how about we just deal with what's at the source? And what's at the source is human beings are distracting themselves from what's going on an emotional level. Take a breath. Human beings are distracting themselves from what's going on at an emotional level. And here's why. Because you've been told that your sadness is wrong. That's why it becomes depression. Your anger is wrong. That's why it becomes rage. And that your fear is wrong. And all of a sudden, because your sadness, anger, and fear are wrong, guess what? They just continue to build and build and build and build inside of you until eventually you don't know what to do anymore. The thought of actually experiencing what you have to feel inside of you becomes so daunting that you stop trying. How many of you are with me? Yes? Do you understand this? Yes? Okay, so this is what happens. Every energy that we don't allow to flow becomes a form of density, becomes a form of resistance, becomes a point of inertia inside of us that we finally have to have the courage to turn and face. That we finally have to have the courage to turn and face. So there is no emotion in you that is wrong. The only part of the emotional experience that we can work on or that we can align with consciously is how we express emotion. How many of you had parents that were volatile? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. You had explosive parents. Raise your hands. Explosive parents. Yeah, rage was like easy in your house. Yeah, good. How many of you had sad or depressed parents? Raise your hands. Sad or depressed parents. Okay, good. And how many of you had parents that just lived in a perpetual state of fear? They were just afraid of everything. There was no rational logic as to why they were afraid. They were just afraid of everything. Good. Excellent. Congratulations. So, here's how we move beyond that. What's happened is you've not consciously had how to move through emotion modeled to you. You've not had it modeled to you. You've only had it modeled to you in a way that's unconscious, right? So someone gets angry, someone punches someone else in the mouth. Okay, great. That's not it, right? Someone gets angry, someone takes out their anger on another person. That's not it. Somebody gets angry and somebody passively aggressively tries to navigate that energy. That's not it. But how about we get to a point where there's nothing wrong with being angry? That's a very hard conversation for spiritual people, because spiritual people are very superstitious. If a spiritual person gets angry, it's because they've been possessed by an entity. Something from another dimension has taken possession of their faculties. So then they have to pray, meditate, spin around in a circle 9 times, baptize themselves with holy water, align their chakras, and chant mantras until the cows come home. It's true. You know it's true. Yeah, you know it's true. What a waste of your life. In fact, if you weren't spiritual, you'd have more time. Because you're spiritual, you don't have time. All your time is gone sitting in a dark room, burning incense, trying to cultivate some platform of peace that you believe is sustainable. Until you leave that room. You know I'm talking to you. So if you're not able to remain peaceful for the remaining 23 hours and 40 minutes, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay? For me, it's about real life. It's about getting real quick. Because if it doesn't translate in your experience, it's not worth anything. Remember I said I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything because there's nothing worth believing in. Subscribing at the level of belief is going to a Michelin star restaurant and having the amuse-bouche and leaving. Okay? I haven't even experienced what that chef has to offer. I just had the amuse-bouche and then I left. And I've drawn my conclusions from the amuse-bouche as to how good that restaurant is. This is what we're doing, guys. We're trying to transform at the level of the mind. That's insane. If you're trying to transform at the level of the mind, you are insane. Because you're trying to fix your insanity with insanity. And then you wonder why your life doesn't work. You wonder why your life isn't improving. You wonder why nothing in your life is building momentum or increasing. Okay, so then what do? We start to embrace and allow and accept what's happening in the moment. How many of you can just simply relax into whatever it is that you're feeling? Honestly. Without reaching for your phone, without reaching for spirituality, without reaching for personal development, now we have apps. Now you need an app. Okay? We don't even know how to be peaceful anymore. We need an app in order to show us how to be peaceful. This is how far we've moved away from who we naturally are. How many of you can just be available for whatever it is that you have to experience? Honestly. Okay. How many of you can see that cultivating that would be everything? How many of you can see that cultivating that would be everything? Good. Yeah, you can clap. You're allowed. Good job. Okay, so here's how it works. When sadness arises, it's only the notion that sadness shouldn't be present that has you reaching for a distraction. When life is playing out in the way that it is, instead of aligning with life as it's unfolding, we're constantly looking to something else or for something else instead of being present. So for me, life has become very binary. It's very simple. I'm either present or I'm distracting myself from being present. That's all it is. I've met every healer, every spiritual teacher, every guru, everybody that you can meet on the planet. And as much as they all have wonderful things to share, ultimately I've realized that it isn't about any of that. It's about my relationship with myself and my ability to navigate my own interior. Because if I'm not able to navigate what's inside of me, then having my hand waved over me by an avatar doesn't make that much of a difference. At some point, I have to relax into my experience. I have to relax into what's happening in the moment of me being human. That's where your power comes from. So, how about this? When sadness arises, instead of reaching for a distraction or trying to move towards something, because you can't success your way out of suffering. How about in that moment, we just relax into experiencing what there is to feel in the body? I'm always relaxed. Because if I have to get stressed out, worked up, or overwhelmed in order to have something, it's not meant for me. It's not meant for me. If I have to get stressed out, worked up, or overwhelmed in order to have something, it's not meant for me. Because I can't miss what's meant for me. I'm not that good. So in that moment, if I'm present to sadness, then all I have to do is welcome the experience of that sadness. Because emotions are just energies in motion. When I first shared this with Oprah, she was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. Now, in the whole transformational paradigm, that phrase is everywhere. Emotions are just energies in motion. That's all it is. Everything wants to flow. Everything wants to be experienced. Everything wants to be felt. So if that's true for our sadness, then that's true for our anger too. Now, here's the key when it comes to anger. Your anger has nothing to do with anyone outside of you. It has nothing to do with anything outside of you. It has nothing to do with who the president is. It has nothing to do with the banking system. It has nothing to do with what your boss said, what your wife said, what your kids did or didn't do. It has nothing to do with anything outside of you. If you are angry and experiencing anger, it's yours. You can't experience anything that isn't authentically present within you already. Do you get this? This is important, especially when we move to the other pieces. So if you're present to sadness in your experience in the midst of your daily life, it's because you're sad. That's all it is. Welcome the feeling. Let it move through you. Relax into it. When you live with an open heart, you no longer need the mind to figure out why you're sad, what happened, how to get out of it, what strategy, what goal, what outcome. At that point, it becomes very simple. I am just sad. There are no squirrels in this room. Can you see a squirrel? No, because nothing in nature needs to be reminded how to be natural. Do you understand that? Nothing in nature needs to be reminded how to be natural. Squirrels aren't in opposition to their sadness. They don't go to workshops. They don't have a squirrel depressed support group. They have a Facebook group. They have a Facebook page. They're just being naturally who they are. Does it make sense? Yes? Yes. So cows don't come to self-help seminars. The fact that humans are here is okay, but if anything natural ever showed up here, boy, we're really in trouble. At that point, we've completely moved out of harmony. So why don't they? Because they're not constantly being brainwashed into believing that they have to be something other than themselves. Squirrel isn't trying to be a cow, and a cow isn't trying to be a squirrel. Everything in nature is being as it's been designed to be. Do you understand this? Okay, so sadness arises. What are we going to do? We're just going to breathe and welcome the sadness. Why? Because there's nothing wrong with the sadness. There's nothing wrong with anything that you're experiencing. There's no judgment around any of it. We just have to simply cultivate the courage to finally apply all of the seminars, all of the trainings, everything that we've done. We finally have to have the courage to finally apply it. Because if we don't apply it, what are we doing? We're just on this hamster wheel of consumption. We've just created another form of consumption. But the problem is that actually authenticity is the end of all of this unconscious consumption. So, when you're sad, just close your eyes. Let's do it together. Let's be sad together, shall we? Close your eyes. I love sadness. It's wonderful. I can't cry in any other dimension. I can't. I can't feel sadness in any other plane of existence. This is the only planet that I know of, because I don't believe in anything. I believe in my experience, where I can actually feel sad. Think about that. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that this is the only place in all of creation where you can actually feel sad. And yet you deny yourself of the experience of that sadness, thinking that it shouldn't be there. Close your eyes and breathe. And I can see you, I'm looking at you, so close your eyes. Don't be the only person in the audience with your eyes open. You don't want to be that person. And just place your awareness, your attention in your heart, in the area of your heart. The reason why you have such a hard time with sadness and anger and fear is because they're not useful as it relates to being a unit of production. You weren't brainwashed into being a unit of production by accident. So emotion doesn't have a space inside of that context. Emotion is seen as a waste of time. Well, I'd like to remind you that you're humans, you're not robots. And until we have an automated workforce, they're just going to have to deal with the fact that we feel emotion. Just continue to breathe into your heart. So life really has boiled down to one simple thing. It's a question of where my awareness is. Where is my awareness? Where's my focus? If my focus is outside, I'm lost in the matrix. I'm lost in the illusion. I'm going to get hooked by someone who's telling me I need something. But if my awareness is inside, I'm whole and complete. I don't need anything from anybody. And that's yoga. That's union. That's 5,000 years of wisdom, not 40 years of compartmentalized understanding that doesn't lead anywhere. We have to get back to the ancient truths in order to be able to transform. Just breathe and relax and place your awareness and your attention there. Just continue to relax. For some of you, it's extremely uncomfortable and painful because you've been rejected, because you've been abandoned, because your whole life you've tried to fit in, you've tried to do all the right things, but yet no matter how much you try, you're just shunned, you're not accepted, you're not embraced, you've just been rejected for being who you innately are. The only problem is that you don't know how to be anyone else. It's the only issue. The only issue is that you don't know how to be anyone other than you. So that platform of acceptance has to come from inside of you. So let's just for a moment together welcome our sadness. It's okay to be sad. You're not wrong, you're not bad, you're not messing it up, you're not doing it incorrectly. You're just being human. Salty water is running down your cheek, and you are making up whatever interpretation you need to around that salty water. That's all it is. It's just salty water running down your cheek. You make a meaning out of that, a significance out of that. There's something wrong with me. My chakras aren't aligned. We do all these different things. So where we used to, as human beings, only be able to judge ourselves in 3 dimensions, now we can judge ourselves in 16. Why? Why not just love ourselves? Why not just meet ourselves in that moment of tenderness? I'm sad. Okay, I'm sad. Cool. Now let's do anger. All right, I'm angry. Okay, relax and breathe. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to be overcome. There's nothing that needs to be cleansed or cleared. There's nothing that needs to be healed. You're just being human. You're just experiencing being angry. There's nothing wrong with that. Welcome it inside. It has nothing to do with anyone outside of you. It's nothing to do with your kids. It has nothing to do with your spouse. It has nothing to do with anyone else in your life. This is a blessing and an experience that you are being ushered into having. And as far as I know, this is the only reality where we can actually experience the miracle of our anger. Breathe. Relax. Welcome it. You're not wrong for having it. It existed before you did. It existed before you did. All right, now let's welcome our fear. I love fear. I run toward my fear. I am not afraid of anything because I'm not afraid to die. When you're not afraid to die, you're not afraid to be who you are. When you realize that you're eternal and no part of you ends here, just as expression ends, but no other aspect of you ends, there's no fear of dying. But some of you are so attached to this version of you and so attached to this particular body and this particular expression that you haven't quite broken through that fear yet. Well, let's break through that fear because I'm free. There are no strings on me. And there are no strings on me because I'm not afraid to die. Because that is the final liberation. That's the final liberation. So if all of this ended today, be great. Be at peace. Be great. It's what allows me to have the courage to tell the truth and transform lives. Otherwise, I would just be a part of the adaptation machine. Breathe and relax. Okay. Just take some breaths and open your eyes. So this is what every self-help course, every personal development course, every healing modality, and every technique boils down to. The whole thing. I've just given you the snapshot version of hours and hours of your life that you could be consuming content. It's a function of awareness. And it's a function of relaxing into our experience in the moment. That's all it is. That's all it is. How many of you feel like a sense of peace now in doing that? Raise your hands. Okay, so the more you can, let's just have a show of hands, you feel peace now. More peace. Yeah, because you're more aligned with you. Okay? Now, just as much as that's true at the level of emotion, it's also true at the level of the mind. I don't care about what's going on in my mind because it has nothing to do with who I am. Do you understand that? You are not your thoughts, you're not your beliefs, you're not your mind. You're the person who's aware of the mind. So if you're the one who's aware of the mind, what does that mean? That means your awareness. You're not the activity inside of the awareness. Do you get that? Do you get that? This is important. It's going to save you a lot of time. The only value in life is time. Someone who has the courage to save you time is invaluable. That's why Uber, we have the illusion of time. Okay, I'm saving time. But actually, if you're in New York City, you can probably catch a yellow cab faster than an Uber. Okay, but we have the illusion of time. It's saving me time. Time's the only commodity. Don't waste it. So how do we move forward? By doing the opposite of what everyone is telling you you need to do. How do we find peace? Stop trying to find peace. How do we finally find fulfillment in our business? Stop trying to 10x your life. Be happy with what you have. Be at peace with what you have, because at that point you'll never be deluded, you'll never be manipulated, and you'll never be moved out of your power center, your core, who you are. And that's my deepest wish for you to become just like the squirrel. I want you to become just like everything else in nature. And the good news is that's exactly what's happening. How many of you can see right now that every existing system and structure is imploding in on itself? Raise your hands. Every existing system and structure is collapsing. Great. Well, the last two systems and structures that need to collapse are spirituality and personal development. Those are the last two systems and structures that need to collapse. Because the truth cannot be understood. It can only be experienced. And who you are cannot be quantified. Who you are cannot be measured. Who you are cannot be put in a box. You're not a metric. You're a person. You're human. You're alive. And you matter. So we're going to make a promise here today. Okay? We're going to make a promise here today. Raise your right hand. We're going to make a promise here today. And that promise is to no longer be distracted from the moment. Okay? To no longer be distracted from the moment. Whatever arises in my life, I'm willing to meet it peacefully. By embracing it. By accepting it. By aligning with it. Because the more I do that, the more my life up-levels. Because I'm no longer wasting my time in survival. I'm no longer wasting my time in struggle. I am free, and there are no strings on me. Okay, you can put your arms down. Very good. So, if I was speaking to myself, because I used to be you, the only message that I would deliver to you is that you came from this infinite field of potential. That's love. Who you are is love. That's why you're here, to love. And when you leave this body, you're going to return to that love. And honestly, what you do in between in terms of productivity doesn't matter. You can't take it with you. Ask the Egyptians. So then what's the metric that we start living for? Peace. Peace. We have to redefine success to be peace. Because if you are not at peace, you are not successful. Do you get that? If pain is driving your need to produce, if pain is driving your need to amass, if pain is at work inside of you, you are not successful. You're running away from something. And the truth is that you can run away from yourself your whole life, but no matter how hard you try, you'll still be there at the end of the day. I'm Panache Desai, and I love you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your attention and your time. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be well.